Hey everybody, welcome to Creek Week.
It's the Creek this week.
That's right, this week, this very week, April 17, 2024. And so we have a really big announcement to make, and it has to do with this guy right over here. So Dan, why don't you just let us know what is going on in your life right now?
Well, there's going to be a vocational change.
What?
In the Hazen household, that's right. So effective June 3rd, I'm going to be resigning my part-time position here at Allen Creek, as well as my other part-time position with the Marysville Police Department. And I'm taking a full-time position with the Everett Gospel Mission here in Everett as of June 3rd.
Wow.
Big deal.
There it is. So, wow. So I don't know, AC3, when the news came to me, lots of feels. It's the end of an era for sure, Dan. You've been at, so we hired you, pulled you fully out of the marketplace in 2000 and, just 2000? Or was it 2000? And wow, the rest, as they say, is history, man. That was, that was Dan's first job in small group directing, and later doing our worship leadership and that kind of thing. And you've worn, like, how many hats have you worn?
11 at least. Yeah, we've changed the job description.
Yeah.
And that, some of that just comes with being the first employee.
Yeah.
Right. You were the first paid person here by the 6 people who pooled their grocery money to keep you guys alive. But being kind of the first employee, we were trying out everything, right? So yeah, it was a small group coordinator, and then we brought in music at one point, and then we called it a community pastor, and then after ordination came, it was executive pastor for a number of years, and then we just kind of jockeyed it around based on what the needs were. So it's been since 2000 full-time. 97 was kind of the beginning of paid.
So a lot of people probably know that you were half-time at the city, and that was that sprung out of your work in chaplaincy. So you're really working with the first responders and really dialing into that community. Then this thing opened up, and you started going half-time. But give us a little bit of the ramp up to this. What led to this decision?
There's a number of things, really, and probably the largest presenting issue, which Brenda, my wife, and we kind of knew. She's smarter than me, so she saw it coming a little bit more, and that is that negotiating 2 part-time jobs there's a burden to that doesn't directly equate. It's like a hidden cost,
right?
That you can't see, and we knew that because back in 1997, we spent 3 years transitioning into full-time ministry here.
You were architect half the time and disciple maker half the time.
Yeah, and so at that point, when I'm 30 years old, it was hard. At 60, it's double hard. So after 2 years and some change, we just realized this is not sustainable to do the 2 part-time things. Now, that emerged really out of more than 10 years of discussion. Like, we have to have transition plan here for our senior leaders, me included, top of that list, to make room for younger leaders to come along. So it was always in the works to say, how can I,
succession.
Succession. How can I get out of here? Great, but kind of off ramp.
Yeah. And
the position at the city seemed like a good opportunity. Right. If that turned into a way to replace our income. Well, it's not going to happen over there. It's just the budget for the next 2 years the city's putting together is 0 growth. So there's not really a room for a full-time position in the next 2 years, and trying to maintain this back and forth. And honestly, like, in all transparency, I don't feel like I was doing either job as well as I wanted to. And it's because you're constantly jamming gears.
Yes.
It's like, okay, what do I do here again? And I got to get my heart, brain in it. And by that time it's lunch, and and it's like, what email address am I responding to? I don't know. And so it just kind of feels crazy. And I
start praying inappropriately with the police officers. It's like, Lord. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not talking to a small group leader. I'm talking to an officer.
That's actually happened, where I've said, all right, let's wrap up this meeting now. When I was going to say, let's pray, and you're not supposed to do that, too often. All kinds of things like that. So that was a big thing. We just saw kind of God's providential hand with this, though. That right now would be a good time for Allen Creek's financial situation to be able to take that half salary that's currently coming my way, to be able to say, all right, we can now redeploy that however we want. So you and the rest of our leaders are going to sit with that and figure out what to do.
Yeah.
Here's maybe the most important thing, I think. We're not leaving Allen Creek.
Oh, good to point.
Should have said that point. Yeah. This is our church home, and there's we're not mad. We're not hurt. Nothing like that. This is our church home. We've been here for 30 years. We've raised our family here. You're our people, and we're not going anywhere. And so hopefully whoever's making decisions on who gets to play drums, I still want to play. That's like my favorite thing. And still going to lead my group if they'll still have me. And, and one of the cool things, Brenda used the term, we're just going to be civilians now.
Ah, civilians.
And so one of the things I'm honestly looking forward to is like when a one-time serve opportunity comes up.
Yeah.
We're just sitting in church and somebody says, hey, we're looking for somebody to do this next week. Go, hey, we could do that.
I can do that.
I can do that instead of like, I got all this other stuff.
One more thing, yeah.
So we're not leaving.
Yeah.
We're not leaving town. In fact, a big part of being with the Everett Gospel Mission is we've been partners with them for a number of years now. That's how I got some relationships there that led to this. And we can continue some of the work we've got going and partnering with Allen Creek.
That's cool.
And it's right in the name, Everett Gospel Mission. So
right. They're gospel people down there.
They are. And I'll be in a role as a pastor there. So I'm maintaining my ordination. That's going to be part of what I do for them.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. So, speaking of the providential piece of it, I can tell you from this side of it, as Dan was like halftime at the city, and if we were in a position to either regrow the role and the city wasn't in a position to grab you away from us totally, we just put it out there and we just said, Lord, this is unsustainable. And then we all kind of joined the Hazens. We joined you guys in that whole, let's just seek God for the next thing. And I got to tell you, it just felt so, sad. Dan not being here is just going to be a massive, we don't know what to do. And, we don't know a situation where we have a ministry staff at AC3 that Dan's not on it. So that will be a fascinating, sad future. We got to figure that one out. But the Hazens being taken care of was just a beautiful thing. And especially at that point where we're talking about succession and the off-ramp you talked about, I think, and then again, in talking about in full transparency, if you said to me in 95, what do you see the transition plan when you're, ready to transition out or, replace new leadership and all that kind of stuff? And we know that's on the horizon for all of us. I just thought, well, the church would be riding so high that, we'd all just get golden parachutes and, I'm out. And everyone would be totally taken care of. We'd carry some role like pastor emeritus or whatever, and all that. And of course, that is not a financial reality right now. And so this just tells me, God said to me essentially, I care about Dan more than you. And I really love that messaging. It was like, because I was filled with a lot of anxiety about that, because I felt responsible for you. I want you to be taken care of as my friend and as a co-minister and pastor, and just for your courageous, long-term, faithful leadership, Dan. Thank you. And I'm so happy that the Lord's given you this beautiful new thing that fits you, and you get to still be part of us. Like if it was in Poughkeepsie, there would be a whole different level of sadness that would reign over it. But you're still here. So AC3, two things now for you to remember. June 9, we're going to have a celebration of Dan and Brenda, who has been such a faithful co-laborer with her husband. So we're going to do that on June 9, little memories and some pictures, and we're going to see some of the history, and Dan gets to address some of his heart to us. So that's June 9. And then the other thing is, let's remember, this is going to be really important, that you're going to see Dan here because he's still part of the family, but he's not carrying the same role. And so as such, our expectations of him for his space, his time, and his heart space needs to reflect the fact that his full-time role will no longer be shepherding us. He will still be part of us, obviously, and all that kind of stuff, but we need to be able to respect that. There'll be a place where we're just going to naturally turn to you and say, Dan, can you do this, this, this? And it's like,
how do I?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And he either won't know or just it won't be his role. So let's just be sensitive to that. And you guys are so good at that for us. You respect. For me, I just feel very respected by you, AC3, that you honor my time off, that I need time off, that when John and I need vacation, our phone doesn't ring off the hook. It's just a great culture here for that. But just a reminder that will be a reality coming up.
Did I mention that part of that is going to be no one is to make eye contact with me. And there will be and there will be
walk behind you.
Rose petals will be cast
rose petals
in front of me wherever.
Palm fronds as well.
Well, that would be sacrilege.
That's it.
That's a little blasphemous. Just the rose petals.
Okay, very good. So get your rose petals now, AC3, and we'll see you on June 9 when we honor this guy. Thank you, Dev.
Thank you.